Surviving in Diaspora. One word, many stories. Says it all. This podcast is about connecting through shared experiences, celebrating diversity, and learning from the incredible stories of people navigating life in diaspora. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Surviving in Diaspora, the podcast where we explore real stories of living away from home, sharing insights, challenges, and little victories along the way. I'm Islamiyat Ombabaisila, and today we have a very special guest with us who moved to the UK just about 4 years ago to reunite with her husband, bringing along the 9-year-old son. If you've been listening, you know we love hearing first-hand accounts about how people navigate in a new environment, cultures, and family dynamics. And today, conversation is going to be shed light on that exact experience. Starting over in a new country while raising a child, so let's dive in. Joining me now is Olabisi. She arrived in the UK 2021, just about 4 years ago, with her son, who was 9-year-old. Olabisi, welcome to Surviving in Diaspora. Thank you so much for agreeing to share your story with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm so happy to share my experiences with you. Also, thank you for giving us this platform to share our experience to other people. So people that are just coming to the UK will be able to learn and find it easy to settle in. Thank you once again.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Could you tell us a bit about your life before moving into the UK? What led you to even make that move? And what were your initial impressions once you arrived?
Okay, thank you, Islamiyat. I moved into the UK in 2021, like you rightly said earlier, to join my husband. My husband has been here for over 20 years. So he came in with his study visa to study initially, and later I started working. In the process, I came into the UK to visit once. That was in 2012. So I got pregnant in the process. Went back to Nigeria to complete my studies. I was in my final year in the uni. So I had to go back to complete my studies and hope to join him as soon, even before I had my child then. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that because of strikes in the school. So I was unable to do my final exam. So I had to wait longer, and that has been the story, back and forth. Going back to the home office with a child after you've had your child is a new story entirely. So we had to wait. Then my husband got his papers, that is another story. That's another story. Wow. You know how it is easier to get papers. So I mean settlement papers. Yeah. So you can just come into the UK to change from one visa type to another. So it's not easy. But alhamdulillah, we are here today. We give God all the glory. Then afterwards, my husband usually visits Nigeria on a regular basis, like 2-3 times in a year.
That's good.
Yeah, so you're planning to join him. Sometimes I said, no, I don't want to come. You have to come back to Nigeria. But I love Nigeria, to be honest, because you have your freedom. You can do whatever you like. And settling in here afterwards. So in 2021, we decided to join him finally. Wow. With my little boy, 9-year-old then. But is that a big boy, though?
Wow, yes, that's fascinating. And what was it like settling in? Were there any cultural shock or big, small or big, that caught you by surprise in your first few weeks?
A lot of. There is a whole lot of cultural shock when we newly came in. Especially for me as an adult, it's nothing new because I've seen a whole lot, on TV. Mm-hmm. But when you have a young child, when you go around to see, the way people dress here is quite different from where we were coming from. Mm-hmm. So their dress sense is different. The food, the even mode of transportation, everything is quite different from what we have back home in Nigeria. So whenever we go out and we see people, dressed maybe not as in quotes, I don't want to use, so as appropriate as expected. So I like tell my son to like look down, cover your eyes. It's not for kids, it's not for children.
But you can't stop him forever,
You understand? Right? Like I can't do that forever. So that's one thing. And the food, I was like, okay, if I can do it, then how about my child? Will I introduce new food to him? Will he start, having new set of food entirely? Those are the things I need to first like figure out how I'm going to balance it. Because I don't want to I don't like to just transition into eating new food entirely, which I believe even for our own well-being and health is not good enough. Because as your body system, if you want to introduce anything new to the body, it's going to, it's not going to go well at first before you now, be able to adapt to that. Yeah, so those are the few things I could say, but there are a whole lot more. Another thing is, if you're wanting to buy something in the market and you now start converting the money back to Naira, before I could get it, I was like, no, 1 yam, right. £5, 10,000, I can't buy it all. But as time goes on now, even when I buy it, it's just £5, it's so cheap today, So
that's
that's a bit different, but to be honest, it is not easy. Well,
so now let's talk about some of the biggest hurdles you faced. Sometimes is it the language barriers or figuring out how to get around. Other time it could be like you're missing home and family. What has been your top challenges these past 4 years, and how did you tackle them?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my first hurdle when I nearly came in was at first. Okay, I came in with BSc.
Okay.
Economics. How will I use that to work?
Qualified.
How will I use it to work? I can't sit at home. That was my first thought. That was the first thing I want to figure out. Like, okay, I am. I have a visa that I could work with. I could work anywhere. Then I was not asking around, like, what kind of job can I do? Then I was like hearing, care work, cleaning job,
wow.
Domestic jobs basically. So the first thing that came to my mind is that, okay, if I want to do this kind of job, what do I need to do? Then I was like, okay, you will need to do some courses. I said, yeah, I'm good to go. I'll start courses. Then I went, I have an app called Coursera. Okay. So I use Coursera and Udemy to do some courses, and on there, short courses, okay. And free courses as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you could find free courses there and short courses on Coursera and Udemy. So I started with foundation in project management. That was my first one. Then later, I did business administration. I did those two, knowing fully well that I'm not going to use that to work, but I just want to have it. I want to have something. I want to have a certificate that I could, that I could present in this country, that could have certified in the UK. Okay. So that is the first thing I thought of in my own thinking. I have not sought for opinion of others that have been here for years. So that was how I started. But I did not use that to work in the first place, but I used it later to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are very real struggles.
Exactly. So that is the first thing, because I was thinking, I came to join my husband. Will he continue to work all alone? How will he foot the bill? Exactly. When I hear about the house rent, when I hear about, we have to pay to watch TV, you pay TV license. Wi-Fi is different, electricity is different, gas is different, phone is different. I said, no, I can't kill this man. I need to support. So that was my first thought. How do I come in? How do I support my man?
So did you ever feel pressure to assimilate quickly or to adapt to British customs so your son could fit in? And how do you even keep that balance, keeping your son, your cultural roots alive?
All right. Thank you for that question. At first, when we nearly came, I do ask my son when the first day he went to school. The first question I asked him was, "Is there any black students in your class?"
Wow.
Then,
I can imagine that.
yes, and I asked again, "Did you hear what they said? Did you hear the English?"
Have you listened to my own story?
Look, I heard when you say, you know. I said, "Did you hear like when the teacher was teaching you? Did you hear?" Because I said, when we went to the store yesterday, everything they were saying, I couldn't hear.
Imagine. So I wasn't the only one that saw
No,
that.
I can't hear anything. To be honest, I can't hear nothing. I was like, no. So my son was like, "Yes, mommy, I heard."
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Then I heaved a sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
That, "Are you sure you heard everything?" I said, "Yes, I heard. I do watch cartoons." Yeah. And one thing I did, again, when I knew that we were coming in, I started making him watch some classes taught in British language, like, British teachers. Okay. So there were some classes that I joined on YouTube, but it's British curriculum taught by British teachers, their English, their mathematics and science class. Okay. So he do join those classes online and on YouTube. So I actually did that. So I am not sure if that actually helped, but I did that. So when I asked, "Did you understand?" He said, "Yes." Then I asked again, "Have you made any new friends?" He said, "No one. I didn't make any friends today." That actually sank my heart. Like, will he be able to make friends? Will anyone want to talk to him? So that was one of my worries when we came. And afterwards, and another thing, I don't know if I should just say that now, that actually helped me to settle in easily. Then the first week, then on the third day or the fourth day while I was taking my son to school, I was on the phone talking to my cousin back home in Nigeria. That, here we are, like here is.
Speaking in Yoruba.
I was speaking in Yoruba over the phone.
Okay.
So then somebody passed by. She was working. She brought our child to the school, same school as my son's school. Then she heard me speaking in Yoruba. Then she told the lady that she was working with a white lady, that, "Oh, I've sent my own person. This person is speaking my language.
I need to speak to her."
I need to speak to her.
Wow. Okay.
Then I paused. Like, no, I reduced my pace, my walking pace. Like, is she coming to me? Was she talking about me? I was actually excited within me. Then she came to me, "Hello." I said, "Hello." Say, "I heard you speak Yoruba." "Yes." Ekaro. Then I was excited. Like, oh, finally, I found someone that I could relate with. Then he asked, because we both dropped our kids. We were coming home. Okay. So I didn't see her kids and she didn't see mine as well. Then he asked, "How is your son?" I said, "Oh, my son is 9. So I have a 10-year-old daughter and I have a 7-year-old boy and a 3-year-old. I said, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." Then in the afternoon, we hooked up again. Then my son met with the kids.
So that you were able to balance that,
keeping
it. That
cultural
especially
root, the language. Then every morning we look out for each other. And she was the first person that introduced me to a job that I could actually do.
Wow. That's amazing.
I would say
story, yeah.
That is where I started.
Wrestling with the same balance, because coming into the new country totally, and for that day that you even met someone speaking your language, that's a lot of relief already on its own. You feel like, okay, I think I'm home.
Sure.
So yeah. So, based on your journey, what would you say to someone preparing to move abroad with their child, or perhaps someone who just arrived and they feel completely overwhelmed?
Okay, well, thank you for that question, and that's a very big question that needs a honest answer. And from my own perspective and in my own opinion, I would advise people that are coming in to settle to take it easy on themselves. That's number one. When I was coming, I don't have high expectations. Okay. I don't have the plan that, in the next 2-3 years, I want to go and build a house in Nigeria.
We get that, don't we?
Yeah, because it will not happen as we think. if you really want to be like sincere with yourself, you need to take each day at a time. And that is what I have been doing, and that is what has been helping me. And you need to click with the right set of people. Like I mentioned earlier, I met someone, you know, in my child's school, and we're still very good friends. We're a good family friend up till now. And I have this wonderful neighbor that actually helped me and my son. And you know what? We've been living in the same building for over 6-8 months. And before we could even know each other, it takes about 8 months. It's that long. So I came in September and we met the following summer when I took my child to the park. And she actually brought our own children too to the park. No, it's not something that is going to happen overnight. You may be living in the same building with some people that you don't know that you will end up, you know, being the best of, you know, Halley. But you need to take each day at a time. When you're coming in, don't have the mindset, don't be pressurized. Like I said to myself, I give myself 5 years. After 5 years, then I will know that I have settled in well. You need to look for a job. You need to support. If you're coming in with your spouse, you need to support each other. Somebody will do day job, one will do night job. Don't ever leave your children to chase job out there. Exactly. You know, you need to balance your family. There is work-life balance. You need to balance the two. That is what I have been doing, and it's been working out for me. I go to work. Yes, I do. I've done night shift before when I newly started. And later, I moved on to a job whereby I go in the morning, I do go out with my child at the same time. We come in at about the same time. He comes in at 4:15. I come in at 4:45, 4:55, 5 after 5. Just about 30 minutes after he comes in. And, you know, do not set a target that you be realistic. Set smart goals. I will use smart goals. You know, simple reality, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-wise goals. So do not say, oh, I want to meet up with this thing. I want to build a house. I want to go and be Yalaja of one shop and start building some shops. Or you know, set realistic goals. There is no pounds on the street of London. You need to work for it.
I love that. I love that advice. It's
honestly
practical and heartfelt.
Exactly.
It just a reminder that while the transition can be tough, small steps and building relationship can go a long way.
Exactly. It is important.
New place feel like home.
It is important.
You arrived. How are you feeling now, and what are your hopes for the future, both yourself and your family?
Thank you. That's a very wonderful question. Looking ahead, I'll say I give thanks to God to have come this far. And like I said earlier, I set a 5-year target for myself. Like after 5 years, that will, you know, within that period, I want to settle in. But now I know the whole of London. I can navigate London easily. Yes, I know where I can get cheap stuffs. Those are the things. Another thing
cheap stuff or affordable stuff?
Yes, affordable stuffs. Cheap. I'm talking about food stuffs. Because
you need to give us tips then.
I'll give you. I will share my tips because I know where I get myself. You know, my foodstuffs. I manage myself. I do not overdo. I do not join party friends. It's good to party. Don't get me wrong, but in London, it is you will belong to a group that you want to belong to.
True.
There are groups. There are gangs. And one thing is, like, my main worry is about my child, how to settle in, because you see a lot of groups as well for the young children. And, you know, in as much as we try to, you know, settle in, to adapt and to do everything that they are doing here, I still do not forget my background. The food we eat at home is majorly Nigerian food. Most of the games we play in the house is Nigerian games, like Ayo, Ludo, What. You know, we play loads of Nigerian games. And just like I said, with my Nigerian neighbors, we share food. Sometimes, I made mama today, she made akara yesterday. And we do share foods with each other. even food ideas. Oh, I don't know what to cook by the weekend. What do I do? Then we share the ideas. Looking into the future, to be honest, yes, we all have plans for the future, but it's only God that owns the future. Like I said, I do take a step at a time. Like my future, my 5 years target is still there. I still haven't attained it. So I still have 1 year for my 5 years. But what I've checked my boxes. So tick 1, tick 2, tick 3, and it's aligning.
That's good.
Yes, everybody in the UK would want to have a mortgage in the next year, Yes, it's part of our plan, me and my husband. But like I said, we are not in a hurry to get anything done. We are taking a step at a time.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you've come a long way in just a few years, and it's exciting to even hear what you're planning next. Even though you just keep it as a step at a time.
Sure.
And that's even one of the most important things. You don't have to feel pressurized or feel overwhelmed at all because someone achieved this. I need to achieve it as well.
I don't even think about that at all.
Thank you so much, Olabisi, for sharing your journey with us. I'm sure many listeners, especially parents in a new country, will find comfort and inspiration from your story. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add in, or any final words of encouragement for our listeners?
Yeah. For everyone listening to this podcast, this moment, I would say to you, thank you for listening to the program. And I would advise that we should be careful to the advice we pick online. There are so many advisors online. But we should be careful to the one we go with. Some will tell you can have mortgage within 6 months. Some will tell you can build mansion in Nigeria within 3 months. Some will tell you there is a job that pays £20 an hour. Please do your research. Do your background check. Another thing for most of maybe spouses that come together, please, our ladies, I want to use this opportunity to be easy on our husbands. It's not easy for the men. They are really trying. So when you are coming in, have the mindset that we are going to do this together as a couple. As a team. In fact, the only thing that works there in this country is teamwork. Don't expect that, back home in Nigeria, you do give me money for soup. Yeah, there's no money for soup,
Well, I appreciate your openness and honesty. Seriously. Thank you again for being here. To our listeners, if you want to share your own story, questions, or tips on surviving in diaspora, send me an email. surviving.in.diaspora@gmail.com, and also reach out on our social media, same handle, surviving_in_diaspora, both on TikTok and Instagram. That's all for today's episode of Surviving in Diaspora. Remember, it's one word, many stories, and yours is always worth sharing. If you enjoyed this conversation, please consider subscribing, leaving a comment, a review, or sharing it with a friend who might need a bit of encouragement on their own journey. Until next time, stay connected to your roots, embrace your experiences, and keep thriving. Today.
Ta-da. Ciao.